My little brother is having seizures from vaping. Last summer, my brother came home from college from his freshman year UK. We were hanging out like normal. Suddenly, he looks like he can't breathe and he's choking. His face goes totally gray. Looks like Tony Stark in the first Iron Man when he gets the thing taken out of his chest.
Too bad you had to involve Pepper in this. I would have preferred that she lived.
Looks like he's choking, can't breathe, can't talk. Lasts for about a minute or two, and then he's disoriented afterwards for a little bit. And we're like, "Hey, yo, like, what was that?" And he's like, "What are you talking about?" And we're like, "You just had like some type of seizure or something." Like, freaked everybody out. It's like, I don't know what you're talking about. That didn't happen." And we're like, "No, dude, it definitely happened." And he was like real disoriented afterwards for about 30 seconds or so, and then came to. And we're like, "Do you know, like, have you been having those for a while?" And it was really weird because once he had it, I realized he had like a smaller version of it, not as severe, but he had like a smaller version of it when I went down for his birthday, which was February of last year. So I tell my mom that, and she's like, "What the hell? Why didn't you tell me?" I'm like, "I didn't know what it was. Like, I'm not a medical expert. I don't know what the hell that thing is. I'm just telling you, like, that was pretty similar to what I saw, but it was more severe this time. And now every time he has them, his face goes totally gray, and he like projectile vomit. They're brutal. During them, he's like super confused, trying to walk around, saying crazy shit that makes no sense. Like, I mean, that part of it, like from a fucked up humor standpoint, it's kind of funny. But when he first had one, we were like, "Dude, what the hell is going on?" And my brother has a brain condition where he was born with a cyst on his brain. He's got this thing called a shunt that they put in to flush the fluid from the cyst in his brain. So when he had that seizure, our first thought, and he just had the shunt replaced his senior year of high school. So when he had the seizure, our first thought was like, shit, it's probably complications from his brain condition. So they took him into the doctors up at Children's Hospital, which is where he has all his brain stuff done. They do all kinds of studies on him. They tell us everything's fine from that standpoint. He's having these temporal lobe seizures, which is like the front. I think that's like the front of your brain. So it wasn't doing any significant damage. They said that they'd affect his cognizant memory a little bit, and like little things like that. But overall, his overall brain function's fine, and he's just having these weird little seizures that they don't know what they're from. So my mom started doing research because my brother doesn't do drugs. He'll drink and has always done nicotine. Those are like the only two things my brother has ever done. So he's like one of the most straight laced dudes I've ever met. My mom did all kinds of research over the summer, and the only correlation we found between the seizures and his activities is the vaping. Apparently, the long term effects of vaping are these mild temporal lobe seizures. And I'm not sitting here saying that's any scientific research. That's just what these groups of people who do those type of research studies are saying about vaping. Like we've tried to tell my brother again and again, is like, you've got to get sober for a month just to figure out what is causing them. Because we also saw temporal lobe seizures can be caused from like if you have a hard fall and you throw off some of your vertebrae in your spine or your back because your central nervous system is directly related to the spinal cord. So you could throw off something there and cause something in your brain to be off. And there was a lot of people that we had chiropractor friends reach out to us and say there's a lot of people that are having seizures from throwing something else off in their body, and it causes these temporal lobe seizures. So there's all those studies on that type of stuff. And we're like, so it's got to be either the vaping or something along those lines. So, and my mom and dad, being the parents that they are, like willing to do anything to help him out because his life sucks right now when it comes to those things. Like he can't drive. He has to wear a medical bracelet. He's having these seizures out in his day-to-day life, and he has to explain to people all the time what's going on. But it's like step one for him is just to get sober, and he can't do it. I'm not speaking like I understand someone else's life because I don't, but I just I just feel tremendously for my brother because it's like all he has to do is not drink or vape for a month. Just that's step one. And like we try to tell him, like you can tell us all to fuck off and that we're wrong and that it's not the vaping or drinking once we see you for a month without doing it. And he just hasn't been able to do it. My parents tried to help him all summer and he can't do it. And the worst part about it is every time he drinks, which we don't think is what's causing the seizures, but it could be, you don't know. But every time he drinks, he gets drunk and then wants to vape. And I'm not trying to belittle my little brother. I'm really just more so curious to the American public. Like, is anyone out there who vapes or has been vaping for a long time having any type of similar issues with these seizures? Because, like I said, it could very well be something to do with his brain condition or something else that's happened. But the only correlation we've found is it seems to be between 28 to 48 hours after he vapes that he has a seizure. If all you have to do is stop vaping, it seems like that's worth it to me just to not vape the rest of your life. And I think the most brutal part for me as his older brother watching it is I've been in the position he's in life right now. Like, he's a sophomore in college, he's in a fraternity, living his best life as far as the socializing and partying goes. So he doesn't want to give up the social aspect that comes with vaping and drinking. But I just wish for my brother's sake that he could see the fact that he's one of the most electric human beings I've ever been around. Like, one of the greatest people I've ever interacted with. And I'm not just saying that because he's my brother and there's that family bias. Like, no, really, people just gravitate towards him. Like, he has a magnetism about him. And he's one of the most intelligent, funniest, quick-witted, talented people I've ever met. A freak athlete. He's smart. He's funny. Like I said, he's quick with the tongue. And I think he feels like if he doesn't go out and drink or vape that he'll be looked at different, like he'll lose his friends or the girls won't be drooling all over him as much. And it's just like, dude, like, your life can only get better from getting sober for a month. Like, you're not going to lose any of your friends. You're not going to lose any of the girls you're talking to. And if you lose anyone in your current circle or life because you get sober to better yourself and figure out where the seizures are coming from, then frankly that person's a piece of shit. Fuck them if they think that you getting better and figuring out what's wrong with you isn't what's best for you. So I'm really just saying that for all the young people out there. Like, if you have any substance that's kind of controlling your life or has a grip on you, or you feel like you have FOMO and you're afraid of missing out on a couple parties or social events to better yourself, it ain't worth it. There's always going to be another party. There's always going to be another beer to drink. There's always going to be another vape or cigarette to smoke or blunt or whatever your substance of enjoyment is. There's always going to be another opportunity to do that. You get one life and one chance to be the best version of yourself. And I'm not sitting here saying it's an overnight process or it's something that is easy to do, because it's not. Like, improving and getting better is really fucking hard. I'm sitting here telling you from experience, from someone who's just now really trying to do that. Like, it's a bitch. I hate getting up early in the morning. There's days I hate going to the gym or hate turning down an invite to go out and drink and party because I love doing that shit. But I know that ultimately when I do too much of that and it prevents me from doing the stuff that I really want to do with my life, then I feel shitty about myself and I feel like I'm not accomplishing what I need to be doing. So again, this isn't a lecture and I'm not here to belittle anyone who's struggling with any sort of addiction or substance abuse, because I get it. Like, I get it. I still drink and smoke because even when I don't want to sometimes, because I just can't say no at times and it pisses me off. But if I was having, and I've tried to say this to my brother, like, if I was having seizures because of any of those things, I wouldn't fucking do them. I'm really just curious to see if anyone out there is having similar effects from vaping, because I'd be curious for my own research. And I also just, to anyone out there who's really struggling to get off of that type of shit and you're having health issues, just think of how much better your life will be when you finally get clean or get off whatever it is that's causing those health issues or that shitty part of your life that you can't seem to kick. So, and I get it. Bad habits are a bitch. Addictions are a bitch. It's fucking hard. Like, I try to explain to my brother, because he always tells me, like, I don't understand his life. He's been through some shit. He's torn his ACL twice. He's had a couple different brain surgeries throughout his life. And, like, I get it. Like, from my perspective, I've dealt with nothing difficult in my life compared to him. But you also have to remember, like, there's always somebody out there that has a tougher life than you. No matter how bad you think your life is going or how many struggles you think you have, somebody out there has it fucking worse than you. So, not to be a dick, not to be rude. I'm sure I'll lose a couple followers over this, but like instead of sitting there crying about how hard your life is and making all these excuses about why you can't be who you want to be or all the obstacles that you can't overcome or all the challenges that you just can't seem to beat. How about you fucking just make the conscious effort to try to get better and be better than you were yesterday? It doesn't have to be overnight. It doesn't have to be a one-day fix, but you can get better one day at a time and try to figure out what you want to do with your life so you can go chase those dreams and stop doing the stuff that's preventing you from going and getting everything that you want. Because one thing about human beings, and it's easy to say when you're there, but I'm someone who's not there, and I'm telling you, I'm in the thick of that shit right now, and I'm telling you, like, the only excuse I have for not being where I want to be and doing the things I want to do is me. And I have to take responsibility for the fact that all the shit that I'm dealing with in my life that's preventing me from chasing my dreams or being the person I want to be is right in front of me. I got to take care of my own shit and figure that shit out. And that's the only excuse human beings can ever have is like, if you're on your deathbed and you're like, man, I didn't do what I want to do with my life, the only person you can blame is yourself. So that's my spiel here on Talks with Tom. Sorry today wasn't a very fun, enjoyable, lighthearted episode, but that shit's been bothering me for about 6 months now. So just watching my little brother go through the same circle over and over again. Like all he has to do is stop vaping and drinking for a month. That's step one. And if that's not what's causing it, he can fucking go back to that for the rest of his life. But that's the only thing right now that's potentially causing these seizures. And all he has to do is not do that for a month just to make sure that that's not what's causing it. So it just pisses me off that he can't fucking see that. So yeah, life ain't always pretty, but you're the one that's in control of your life, and making a bunch of fucking excuses and feeling sorry for yourself isn't the way to fix it. Talks with Tom.
Taking shots by the lake till I can't even breathe no more, see no more. I was riding around town thinking to myself, is it